What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Your Eyes and Ears Don't Lie, and we're gonna talk about this lion-ass, orange-faced gremlin. You know what I mean? Who is crazy that you got these little MAGA maggots that can't wait to pass the blame that you support a pedophile. You knew he was a sexual deviant, and now you can't see the Epstein files. You stupid if you really thought you didn't get to see the Epstein files. Who gonna snitch on themselves? Like, you really thought your boy was gonna show you those files? Come on, man. That he's knee deep in? And all of his statements that he's making, okay, so the Democrats created the files in a hoax. It was Obama. It was Biden. It was Comey. It was Hillary. They created the files. So if the Democrats created the files, there's other Democrats in the files? You were so stupid. That's the one thing that Trump has said that's true. Only honest thing he's ever stated is that he loves the poorly educated, because y'all stupid. Like, there's no other explanation for it. We already know the majority of y'all are racist, hate mongers, but you are literally idiots. And you don't look at no kind of facts. You get all your news from the propaganda networks of Fox, who, in itself, the fact that y'all turn to Fox, that in itself tells me that y'all love to be abused. You guys are abusers, but you love to be abused too. You got a network that is your go-to. Y'all got Fox on a pedestal. And the same Fox that said, you are too stupid to tell the truth. When they got sued, they admitted, Tucker Carlson and various others through internal communication, that y'all viewers of Fox are so stupid that they can't tell you the truth because you won't watch, because you stupid. And you still watch. Don't y'all have any self-pride? That's a rhetorical question, because we know you don't. Idiots. So let's touch on a few facts that can be verified through various legitimate sources online. You're able to find less and less on the Department of Justice and the FBI websites for various reasons that we know that they're trying to stifle that. The king of corruption is trying to scrub all evidence against him and block anything from getting out because he knows he's knee deep in this shit. And I'm going to read this just so we are super accurate on that. The creation and release of the Epstein files investigation. Well, first of all, let's start from the beginning, where the initial investigation began between 2006 and 2008, when the first federal investigation into Jeffrey Epstein began under President George W. Bush. The FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Florida investigated Epstein for sex crimes involving minors. 2019, a second major federal investigation was launched under President Donald Trump, leading to Epstein's arrest on federal sex trafficking charges. Now, the file compilation, which includes materials from both investigations such as flight logs, contact books, seized devices, and photographic evidence. These were stored in the FBI's case management system and expanded significantly under the 2019 arrest. Now, the orange-faced gremlin was in office from 2017 to 2021. So he did everything he could at that point to block the 2019 arrest of Jeffrey Epstein and destroy any evidence against him or that could implicate him. However, he was unsuccessful because he didn't own the Department of Justice or the FBI. So he made sure that this time around, he eliminated that obstacle. He made sure that you're going to control all avenues that possess the incriminating information against you and get rid of it. For not only this sex crimes and sex trafficking and chronic pedophilia, but all the crimes against him. Because they're not talking about how you've just ordered the Department of Justice to stop the other federal cases against him. We're not even talking about that. He was indicted on over 94 charges, and you don't hear nothing about that anymore. You hear about the New York one where he don't want to pay EJ and Carol. So for somebody supposed to be that rich, why can't you pay? The Georgia one, Fannie Willis, you fucked that case up. You know, you can't show up at court with dirty hands in a situation like this. So we ain't even gonna talk about Georgia. But all the other federal cases you was facing, you ain't heard nothing about them. They just went away. Because all he wanted to do was delay everything till he got in office and could get rid of the cases. You could just order the Department of Justice to drop them. Order the FBI to stop investigating them. To destroy the evidence. So anyone that comes after you can't pick up a case where there's no evidence. That's why he's fighting so hard to not release the Epstein files. But if you listen to what he's saying, you're incriminating the shit out of yourself. Because first, there is no Epstein files or a list. But then you're talking all this shit about Bill Clinton. And ain't nobody from the Democratic side defending Bill Clinton. That's the difference between y'all scumbag MAGA maggots and us is we want everybody to be penalized. Punish everybody to the fullest extent of the law. So if it was put on by the Democrats and all of that, why would they incriminate themselves if we really made up this list? Which, as I just stated, you could review and double check. This started during the Bush administration. And it was going on for several years through the Bush administration into Obama to where they finally made arrests in 2019. And that was against your wishes. So, I mean, it's clear. As soon as you got into office, you went and took control and started the process to eliminate all aspects of the government that protect the public, all agencies that can enforce law and order. You went straight to kneecap those. The FBI with crooked ass, cross-eyed Kash Patel, I never know what he's looking at because his eyes all over the damn place. He'd be a hell of a basketball player because the no-look pass, every pass be no-look because his eyes is cocked like two pistols. You got Pam Bondi in charge of the Department of Justice, which, let's talk about Pam Bondi. Let's talk about Pam Bondi. Let's talk about Pam Bondi and her history of employment. Since, you know what I'm saying, that's very interesting. Let's look at the fact that, here, let me pull this up. Because I don't like to just throw shit out there unless it's as accurate as possible. And if there's anything I say that I find out is wrong, I own it. We ain't out here to try to misinform or just talk some shit for clicks. Here we go. I took some notes because there's all these haters out there that want to just throw shit out there, but you ain't got no facts. You ain't got nowhere you could cite that this information came from. So this came from the Attorney General's website for Florida. So remember those dates about when that Epstein investigation started. Pam Bondi's employment history overview. So she's been a long and high-profile career in law and politics, marked by key roles in Florida and at the federal level. So her legal and political career timeline from 1991 to 2009. 2009, so you were there still. You were the Assistant State Attorney for Hillsborough County, Florida, 13th Judicial Circuit. Prosecuted cases ranging from domestic violence to capital murder. 2011 through 2019, Florida Attorney General. So you're the first woman to hold the office, and you were elected in 2010, re-elected in 2014, and you focused on consumer protection, opioid litigation, and you focused on human trafficking. You bitch. 2020, you were on the Trump impeachment defense team. You served as one of President Trump's lawyers during his first Senate impeachment trial. 2021 to 2024, you were the legal director of America First Policy Institute, where you led legal strategy for the Trump-aligned think tank. So you've been protecting criminals way before you got into this particular position at the Department of Justice. But seeing that you've been protecting this man for 2 decades, he felt like he owed you. So you worked your way into this position as essentially a criminal, but a DEI hire as a criminal, because you've already shown your loyalty and willingness to say, fuck the public and the laws, the Constitution. I'll do whatever you want. Oh, cult leader. Oh, orange-faced gremlin cult leader, you. I will do what you want. I'm even willing to let you Jim Jones me. Except Jonestown is the whole United States right now. So, I mean, everybody in this administration has some ties to some illegal ass faulty bullshit with Trump. That's how they got elected. Because basically, if your hands are dirty and everything, I know you're going to go all out. Pam Bondi had a huge role in this Epstein shit. You were the attorney general. You specialized in human trafficking in Florida. And you left that position in 2019 when they arrested him because you couldn't stop it and neither could Trump. Because at that time, the Department of Justice and the FBI were still functioning as an independent agency. Not anymore, because you're all one under the thumb of the orange-faced gremlin. So when you sit here and talk about how the first thing that these MAGA maggots will always say is, well, the Democrats had 4 years to do it. The Democrats tried to release files over the course of the Biden administration. They tried to get him while Trump was still in office the first time. But he's done everything he could to stifle the release of those files because one thing about a criminal, when a criminal is being accused of shit, the one thing for sure is that criminal knows if they did it or not. It ain't about who's investigating you or none of that. The one person who knows if you did it or not is you. And that fool know he did it. You know you knee deep in this shit. And just today, you talking about how you got, first Epstein wasn't a member, and you wasn't really close to him, but you was a really good friend to Maxwell, but you don't really know the guy. So you're stupid and you're senile, and you clearly talk off the brain and not reading shit. Because you said that you found out he was taking the girls from Mar-a-Lago, and you told him to stop. He did it again, and then you were done with him. So you knew he was taking girls. You used the word stealing because you think that people are your property. The same way you talked about how farmers can basically own these damn workers, you think of people as property. Because you are racist and your whole little camp is all about never wanting slavery to end and pissed off that it did and trying to bring it back. Every time you talk, you incriminate the shit out of yourself. Every accusation that these MAGA maggots make is an admission of guilt. How many people in the administration and his supporters have been arrested for sex crimes? They all got sex crimes. Whether accused or convicted or settled out of court. Brett Kavanaugh, I mean, damn it, look at Brett Kavanaugh's history. Every single person in his shit is grimy as hell. That's how MAGA works. Instead of y'all walking around trying to identify each other on the black web, the dark web, all this other shit, now you pedophiles identify each other with the maggot hats. Because MAGA, that don't stand for Make America Great Again. That stands for molesting and grooming adolescents. Because that's all y'all do. Want to cover up that. You want to tell this lie and portray people of color as the most violent, dangerous people around when it's y'all. I saw an interview earlier today. I don't know how old it was because I didn't catch that, but it was saying the shit I've been saying for 15 years. Is that 69.8% of all sex crimes committed are white males 18 to 55. That don't mean nobody else does it, but 69.8% don't leave a lot of other people, when you look at the other ethnicities in this country, that rises to about 90%, a little over 90% when you start talking about crimes against kids. So you want to talk about how violent black people are or Latinos and shit, look in the motherfucking mirror. You commit 54% of all violent crimes in the country as well. But that ain't reflected in jail or the prison system because ain't nobody actively trying to pursue y'all. If you police white neighborhoods like you police the rest, the arrest rates will be higher. Because it ain't that you ain't committing crimes. They just ain't actively trying to arrest y'all. And you look at this shit with all these sex offenders and all that. These traffickers. There's a pattern to all the shit that's on the news. And the pattern is, these folks ain't looking like me. They looking like y'all MAGA maggots. Y'all churches, all of that. So y'all want to do the most horrible, despicable shit and then pull up some Christianity or God shit. What Bible y'all going by? The Trump Bible? Because that's the only shit I can imagine you using, because you ain't using the real word of God. You ain't going through the scriptures living your life. And I don't place one religion over the other, because whatever motivates you to do right or is your driving factor to be a positive influence in this world, more power to you. So I don't find any religion greater than any other. I respect them all, and it's about whatever motivates you to do right. But this bullshit they talking about, where you do all this horrible shit and try to end yours with your Christian beliefs and shit. Man, somebody need to slap the dog shit out of y'all, because y'all full of shit. Ain't nothing Christian about your behavior at all. Ain't nothing Christian about the history of this country at all. When you do these most horrible shits, I guess you gauge positivity by what you do, not what you have done. Or because you ain't the victim of it. Because they wouldn't feel like they feel if you were the victims of all this shit. And the funniest thing is how these right-wing media outlets and these crack pipe dudes that be out here on podcasts and all this shit talk about white men are the most discriminated against in America. You a damn lie. You said that bullshit because you already trying to get out in front of the fact that y'all some dirty ass pedophile motherfuckers. And not all of y'all, but the overwhelming majority out of them 77 million people that voted for this orange-faced gremlin, something wrong with y'all. Because you can't say policies. Because if you knew about tariffs and you knew about economics, you wouldn't have picked a guy who's crashed 6 businesses, who was on the verge of another bankruptcy before he got The Apprentice show. You would pick a man that speaks to women the way he does, speaks to children the way he does, associates himself with all these sexual deviants as well, but it makes complete sense because birds of a feather flock together. You guys are dirty son of a bitches, and you want to hang with people that like the same shit as you. If I'm a car guy and I like muscle cars or supercars and shit, I'm going to go hang out with dudes that got supercars, rich heads, cats that like automobiles. So y'all hang with each other because y'all know what each other's about. Y'all can be yourselves and not have to worry about no blowback. It's a damn shame. Because you don't never hear no Trump supporters say he didn't do it. They just don't give a shit. And they got some excuse. The Democrats did everything that Trump is being accused of. Even the shit he did before he was in politics, the Democrats did it.